Hey, Steve Magnante here at High-Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts, with what many people call the Plastic Fantastic. It's a 1960 Chevrolet Corvette. We say plastic because the bodies on these things are entirely made of fiberglass, which is a form of plastic, obviously. What that allowed General Motors stylists to do was come up with very brave shapes and contours that couldn't be replicated financially, feasibly in steel or lead or aluminum, but fiberglass is basically, it's a blank slate to do marvelous things with if you're a stylist. Now, some changes that came from 1960 were actually the last year for the chrome headlight bezels right here. 1961 would bring body-colored headlight bezels. The chrome strip would continue for 1961, but for 60, final year for the chrome bezels. Also, final year for the chrome tooth grill, which would be replaced by an inset aluminum stamped grill for 1961, more sanitary design by many standards. And of course, this one is a roadster. There were no hardtops. You could get an optional hardtop, but again, the coupe would arrive in 1963 with the Stingray, a whole different animal in many ways. Now, these are fairly light cars. The fiberglass here is not race grade stuff from hardwood. It's not meant for competition. I would say about 3,100 pounds, big, heavy duty steel frame underneath these things to make up for the lack of structure, because there's no roof on these, obviously. But again, a great handling car for its time. Kingpin still up front, which is something that was shared with Chevys from the 1950s and early 50s and 40s even. But again, beautiful wraparound windshield here. Of course, the side cove on this one here. Now, this one is painted Roman red, which was third in popularity behind ermine white, tuxedo black, and of course Roman red right here. Little red Corvette. Here it is right here in the flesh, or in the fiberglass, I should say. Now, one thing about this car is that everything about it is fiberglass, with one exception. We'll come around to the driver's side. That's one thing that most people aren't aware of. On these cars, there is one steel body panel, and it is right here. It's the fuel filler door right there. That is pressed steel, so that's the one thing on the body that is not made of fiberglass right there. Gives you access to the gas tank, which is below there. And we'll come around here to look under the hood and see what we find. No big blocks at this point in time. 1965 would be the first year for the 396, and the 67 would be the 427, but that era was not upon us in 1960. So under the hood, we're going to find a small block. Well, which one? Let's take a peek and learn. Okay, I see a cast iron intake manifold, a small Carter 4-barrel carburetor, dual exhaust, as these all Corvettes did. We'll talk about the dual exhaust in a second when we come around to the back of the car. This is probably the 230 horsepower base 283. Nothing wrong with that. Plenty to get this car out of its own way. And this right here, this is a stainless steel ignition shroud. The point is, when equipped with a radio, the radio interference could go right through the fiberglass firewall and affect static and really confuse the signal. So this right here blocks the RFI signal from getting out of the distributor and poisoning the reception of your Buddy Holly song on your radio, as it were. And this right here is stainless steel, and they don't tend to rust. I've never seen these things rusty or crusty, but there it is. That's factory stuff right there. Another detail we see on this, it's a 1960, so it does not have the alternator that would arrive in 1963. It has a generator. It's a 12-volt system, but here it is right here, the generator. And again, single pulley right here, single belt. So it's a 230 horse motor. It's not the fuel injection job, which was certainly available in 1960, up to 315 horsepower, I believe it was, for the big dog, solid lifter, Duntov cammed Feely motor. This is the more mellow example of the 283. And this right here, this thing, you might wonder, what is that thing? Well, that runs the tachometer. Tachometer was standard in Corvette at this point in time, and this is a drive. It's a Morse cable. Runs off the back of the generator into the car to the back of the tachometer, so you'll know how many RPMs you're turning when you head down the road. So going inside, it's true that you can get a 3-speed manual in a Corvette in 1960, and of course the Power Glide 2-speed automatic, but this one luckily has the 4-speed T10. It's a Borg-Warner T10, good transmission, another $184, well spent right there for the 4-speed. I would say that nothing connects the driver to the car like a manual transmission. You can say what you want about paddle shifters and automatics and stuff like that, but manual transmissions are much more engaging and more fun to experience as a driver. Of course, the huge steering wheel right there emulates the look of a Ferrari steering wheel of the 1950s, and nothing wrong with that. And here's the grab bar right here, the Jesus bar to those who are riding along. Oh, just slow down. That's what that's for. And again, the Corvette logo right here in red, white, and blue. New for 1960, the brushed stainless effect right here inside. And again, that's a radio-equipped car. There's the speaker in the top of the dash, and there's the radio right there, horizontal. And this car has a heater, which is an optional feature. And of course, bucket seats, no bench seats in Corvettes, no four doors or station wagons in Corvette land at all, ever. So again, just a nice example of a Roman red 60 Corvette. Pretty much, lightly restored and a great driver for sure. Beautiful paint on this. You could take it to a car show and probably win some trophies, I would think, without too much trouble. It's a beautiful looking car. And at the back of the car, we talked about the exhaust system. 1960 was the final year for through the bumper exhaust right here. 1961, the whole tail of the car will be redesigned, sort of foreshadowing the 1963 Stingray. And that's when 1961. The pipes are kind of hidden underneath the wheel openings. And of course, 1960, also the final year for the rounded rear quarter panel. It would give way to a straighter ducktail effect in 1961, of which again, presaged or preceded or predicted the 1963 Stingray. And again, final year right here for the big taillights right there. And of course, the through the muffler exhaust. Great example of the breed right here. So to learn more about this car, go to the High-Octane Classics website and check out the photo gallery.